right. Nevertheless, now it's time for the men's elimination chamber, which is Austin for the U.S. title, Austin Theory versus Montez Ford versus Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Seth Franklin Rollins versus Johnny Gargano. And the entrances took 12 minutes. I guess that's not as bad with 6 guys. And actually, the entrances on the pay-per-view are quicker than the ones on Raw. The negatives I will talk about to begin with. At first, it's hard to take anything seriously with Gargano in it. Secondly, everything is so clean and sanitized. We know there's not going to be any blood, but there's this awesome looking gimmick cage with the chain links, and it's not the War Games. It's not a cage match. It's not the ultimate settling of a conflict between 2 individuals or 2 opposing forces or parties, teams, whatever. It's modern wrestling where they now have decided they have decided to theme a pay-per-view after a gimmick match, and then they decide who to put in it, rather than the stipulation coming from the people involved in the match. Do you, instead of having an angle between the 2 parties of whatever and making the stipulation fit the program to blow it off, such as Dusty did with the War Games or every other gimmick match, the invention of that was the reason for it in all the history of wrestling. Now they've just decided we're going to have a gimmick match, and now we'll figure out who to put in it.
When you created Hell in a Cell, I'm pretty sure you didn't think, okay, now here's your new annual pay-per-view event.
No, it was an ultimate blow-off match, and we had to tweak different parts of a regular cage match, not only to make it different and sellable as even more dangerous, but also to fit the finish that we wanted to do to introduce Kane. But, and that's not to say that we were never going to do it again, because that's great when you establish a match like that. You want to, then that's why that gimmick matches drew and draw, or used to draw, whether it be the Texas Death Match or the cage match or the whatever the stipulation is, because the first time that the people saw it, it was the blow off to a big major feud, rivalry, championship, whatever the fuck, amongst 2 main event guys or opposing forces that did such a hell of a job that you remember it afterwards. So then maybe a year and a half down the road, or to whatever, 2 years, whenever it may be, that something comes up again, that you have another program between 2 opposing forces, that the Hell in a Cell or the Texas Death Match or the chain match or whatever that match may be would fit perfectly. Then you have it. And then you tell PA, remember how great the first one was. Well, imagine what's going on these 2. That is why stipulation matches and gimmick matches work. If you had just started out with saying, before there had ever been a cage match in wrestling, Saturday night at the Omni, we're going to have a big cage around the ring, and we're going to put wrestlers in it, and they're going to fight. Would the cage match have ever become a thing? You put the cage before the horse in that case, to coin a phrase. I'm not going to belabor this anymore, but God damn it.
Well, unfortunately, this gimmick match has become like the Royal Rumble, where it's an annual tradition between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Yes, and that's why that, people just watch for guys to do moves to each other. And then you've got a couple of real main event guys in this match, and a couple that could be there one day, and a couple that ain't never going to be there. And the crowd they do Seth Franklin's whoa, and blah, blah, blah. So Gargano and Seth Franklin started, and the crowd sang because they were bored, I guess. Theory came in and looks great. He beat up Gargano and Seth, and then they teamed up on him. And Theory was trying to keep himself entertaining and do shit that fits him. He tried to hide in one of the pods. He closed the door so Gargano couldn't.
He was hiding from Gargano. That's the biggest problem I had with that spot.
Well, but at least he's trying to be inventive. But I agree, it is hard to take, hiding from Gargano. But Seth comes in the rear, and they get him in the pod and like beat him up in a phone booth. And then Priest comes in and beats up everybody. But the point is, until everybody gets in and shit starts happening, it drags, and people were on their hands a lot because you can't have a match with these stipulations and this setup. You can just have guys doing moves to each other and coming up with different moves to do to each other. It can't make sense. There's no personal issue. There's no clear grudge. There's no two sides. It's meaningless action dressed up with a set and a budget. So now that we've said that, Bronson Reed comes in, does big man stuff, and looks great. Montez Ford came in. They're going to obviously try to make him a single. And I think athletically, he has all the talent in the world. He looks in good shape. I don't know that he has a lot of personality. He looks like one of the fucking Cosby kids on the Cosby Show. He's just kind of there.
Well, there was only one boy in the house, and that was Malcolm Jamal Warner. He doesn't look anything like him.
Well, then what show am I thinking of?
He looks like the guy on the CBS morning show, Nate Burleson, the former NFL football player. He looks exactly like him, except for the hair.
I don't watch that show. So, well, he looks like some boring fucking guy from a show that I've seen in some part of town. Anyway, they're trying to make him a single. And he can do a lot of shit athletically, but I don't know that the people they were popping on the shit he was doing, but nobody thought he was going to win this thing because they're not far enough along yet doing whatever they're doing, making him a single. But he dove off top of the cage, and then three guys triple teamed Reed, and Ford splashed him 1, 2, 3, and he was out. I would have kept him around a little longer. Again, Gargano just being in something with grown folks but there's talent that I like in this match. Oh, I wrote here, I don't want to see Led Zeppelin play basketball either. So even though there's people I like in this match, I don't like what they're doing. Anyway, finally, Priest beat Gargano, yay. And then Ford beat up the other two for a while, but tried to splash on Theory, and Theory got his knees up, and then Seth stomped him, and Theory pinned him. And when Seth gave him the curb stomp, he stomped him side of his face first into the platform around the ring, which looks to be plywood or whatever. And then we got Seth and Theory, which is where I would have thought that it would have come down to begin with. And I'd rather actually probably have seen a single match between them. It would have been good. However, Brian, what is your opinion? Have you heard anything about Ford really getting hurt, or was that a work?
I haven't heard anything, and I thought it was a work to get the door open.
Okay, well, the reason why that I thought it wasn't a work when it was happening.
After it happened, I thought it was a work, I should say.
Well, yeah. Well, when it was happening, I thought there's no way he's got to be hurt because they're killing the fucking finish. And then when I saw that, I'll tell the people what happened. Seth and Theory start. Seth hits a powerbomb and gets a 2 count. Ford is still laying there. And they call the other referees in. And then the security guys or the doctors or the minions, whatever they are.
Give him credit. He was doing a great job of selling that he was hurt.
Well, yes, he was. That's why I bought it at first. But the problem was Seth and Theory had just got started. They did one move, and then they had to lay there and fucking sell. And it stopped the whole thing. And I wrote, if this was a work, it's the worst idea ever. Because it took so long to get Ford out of the ring, and he's stumbling, and he really did a good job of, you would believe he was hurt. But it brought the whole thing to a goddamn halt, and then they gave him the golf clap when they're carrying him out. So now the people's attention is completely off of Seth and Theory, and then as soon as they got Ford out of there, they had to start back at full speed, going from selling, and now the people, they started getting back into it, but it just derailed everything. And the reason they did that was to leave the fucking door open. Jesus H. Christ. Because as soon as Seth hits the pedigree and starts milking the curb stomp, then Logan Paul shows up through the open door onto the apron, gives Seth the buckshot lariat and a curb stomp right in front of the referee because no disqualification. And in theory, hits his finish 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, geez, again, this is there used to be a phrase called disgusting heat, which was not disgusting heat like you were offended because they were too bloody or whatever. You got disgusted because you either got mad at the referee or mad at the promotion because you didn't like the finish and it was kind of obviously bullshit. Because the referee either was buried or something was allowed to happen that shouldn't have been allowed, and the fans get disgusting heat instead of mad at the heel heat. And I'm thinking that if they keep giving them these bullshit finishes, that it's more disgusting heat for people that tuned in the big show. But you tell me, what do you think?
I don't know if that's the case in this specific example, only because in this example, the major gimmick match that the event is named after isn't even the main event, and it's certainly not the match those people really came for. So if there was ever a time you could do this, this was probably the one. It was a surprise. I mean, I think it was a surprise. I mean, maybe some people thought it, but you didn't hear too many people saying, I bet Logan Paul will be there. It was a clever way to get him in the cage because even experts were questioning what was happening with Montez Ford. And then all of a sudden he hit. By the way, he hits the buckshot lariat better than
Hangnail.
Better than Hangnail. Maybe Logan Paul should name that something after himself and take that move because he owns it at this point. We're going to get Logan Paul and Franklin. That'll be interesting. Theory gets a win. He never really gets a clear-cut win. He's a heel, but maybe he isn't presented strong enough. I mean, he's running from Johnny Gargano and hiding from Johnny Gargano in this match. No one would ever hide from Johnny Gargano.
He was trying to be a heel and work with the tools he had in front of him, I guess.
What'd you think of the Montez Ford spot where he dropped himself like a bomb?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's got such athletic moves and can get such spring and such height off of the top rope or whatever he dives off of. In this case, he was completely upside down hanging from that roof and just dropped and spun around and cross-bodied everybody. I think if they're going to make him a single, then I know they want him just to have a good performance in the thing, but I would have tried to break him loose a little bit before this, and that way when he comes into this thing, he's at least had some kind of track record, and you know, the people might have taken him more seriously, because again, they popped on his moves, but nobody thought Gargano was really going to win this thing, I don't think. Nobody thought Montez Ford was going to win it because he's a tag team guy and they marginalized their tag teams. I think everybody always thought it was either going to be Theory or Seth to begin with. And that's, you know, something like this when it's with 6 top guys and you can't really, maybe 1 or 2 might be shady, but you can't really pick who's going to be the last ones and who's going to win, you know, it's easier to take. But whatever. The people, like you said, this was a forgiving crowd that came to see the main event.
If you're going to put a Bronson Reed in this match, is this the way to do it? Have him eat multiple finishers one after another to justify him losing?
I guess. I don't know why Reed at this stage of the game had to be in there to begin with. instead of, but well, I do know because they got nobody else over. We keep talking about it, but it's early for Reed to just get pinned and, slink off into the darkness also. Hey, how do they get out when they're eliminated? How do they get out?
So the referee lets them out.
Yeah, well, why did Ford have to lay there for fucking 45 seconds? And fucking 6 people come in and carry him, and they accidentally leave the door open when the door opens every time somebody gets eliminated, and somebody had just gotten eliminated.
Even before he got up, he did a good job of selling on the mat.
Oh, he did a great job.
When they were on top of him checking on him, I thought he was really hurt for a second.
He sold like an auctioneer, but they were going to open the door anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about their door maintenance, if that's your question. I will say though, surprisingly, after we did a segment on the drive-thru about the dirty wrestling rings, and you talked about Vince using a clean mat, a clean canvas for every Raw, apparently the policy now is a clean canvas for every match.
Jesus Christ. Okay, and what they do is they put like 5 or 6 of them on top of each other and then just roll one off.
Tear away.
Yeah, but it's like a $10,000 canvas budget for each taping. Maybe they do that now and they don't change them out after each time. Because when Vince started, it was a new one for every TV taping, but you left the same one on. All right.
You should have heard that argument when he laid everyone off. How about instead of laying me off, buy 100 less canvases next year?
Yes. Cut that canvas budget.